Did you know that someone over 60 falls every 15 seconds in the United States? That's nearly 6,000 falls every single day. But here's what they don't tell you. Most of these falls happen during the simplest activities: getting out of bed, walking to the bathroom, reaching for something on a shelf. The real shock comes when you learn what's actually behind these falls. It's not age. It's not weak bones. It's something you can fix in just 5 minutes a day. In the next hour, I'm going to share with you the truth buried in the research about balance and falls. There are 6 surprising things about balance that could save your independence and maybe even your life. The 6th one involves a simple routine that takes less time than making your morning coffee. But the 5th one will shock you. It's something most doctors never mention, yet it's responsible for more falls than icy sidewalks and loose rugs combined. Tell me in the comments, how old are you and where are you watching from today? I'd love to know who's joining me for this conversation about staying steady on your feet. Let me start with something that might surprise you. The number one predictor of whether you'll fall isn't your eyesight. It isn't the medication you take. It's not even how strong your legs are. The biggest predictor is how long you can stand on one foot with your eyes open. Think about that for a moment. If you can't balance on one foot for at least 10 seconds, your fall risk jumps dramatically. Why does this matter so much? Your brain relies on 3 systems to keep you upright. Your inner ear tells you which way is up. Your eyes show you where you are in space. And tiny sensors in your feet and legs, called proprioceptors, feel the ground beneath you. When you stand on one foot, all 3 systems have to work together perfectly. If any one of them is weak, you wobble. If 2 are struggling, you fall. Recent studies from major medical centers show that people who can't balance on one foot for 10 seconds have an 84% higher risk of death from any cause over the next 7 years. That's not because standing on one foot prevents death. It's because balance reflects the health of your entire nervous system. Margaret, 72, used to be a dance instructor. She came to me after falling twice in her kitchen, once while reaching for a coffee mug, another time just turning around. When I asked her to stand on one foot, she couldn't do it for even 3 seconds. Her inner ear was fine. Her vision was good. But those sensors in her feet had gotten lazy from years of wearing thick-soled shoes and walking only on flat, predictable surfaces. I started her on a simple protocol. Every morning, she'd stand next to her kitchen counter and practice balancing on one foot. First with both hands on the counter, then one hand, then just fingertips. Within 2 weeks, she could balance for 15 seconds with no support. She hasn't fallen since. That was 8 months ago. Here's what you can start today. Stand next to a sturdy surface like a kitchen counter or the back of a solid chair. Place both hands lightly on the surface for support. Lift one foot off the ground, keeping your standing leg slightly bent, not locked. Hold for as long as you can, working up to 30 seconds. Switch feet. Do this twice a day, morning and evening. As you get stronger, use less support until you can balance without holding on at all. But here's where most people make a critical mistake. They think balance is just about not falling. The truth is much bigger than that. Balance is your early warning system for everything that's happening in your body. When your balance starts to fade, it's often the first sign that your brain isn't processing information as quickly as it used to. It's the canary in the coal mine for cognitive decline. It's a predictor of heart problems, diabetes complications, even depression. The research shows something remarkable. People who maintain good balance as they age don't just avoid falls. They maintain independence longer. They have less fear about moving around. They sleep better because they're not afraid of nighttime trips to the bathroom. They stay socially active because they're confident navigating different environments. Robert, 68, was a retired electrician who loved working in his garage. But after a small stumble while carrying tools, he became afraid of falling. He stopped going to his workshop. He quit his Tuesday poker game because he worried about walking across the parking lot. His world got smaller and smaller. When we worked on his balance, something interesting happened. Yes, his stability improved. But more importantly, his confidence came back. Within a month, he was back in his garage. Within 2 months, he'd rejoined his poker group. He told me that fixing his balance gave him back his life. The protocol that changed everything for Robert was what I call the stability triangle. 3 simple moves that challenge your balance in different ways. First is the 1-foot stand we just talked about. Second is heel-to-toe walking, where you walk in a straight line, placing the heel of one foot directly in front of the toes of the other foot, like you're walking on a tightrope. Third is standing with your feet close together and closing your eyes for up to 30 seconds. Each of these exercises challenges a different part of your balance system. The 1-foot stand tests your overall stability. Heel-to-toe walking challenges your dynamic balance, your ability to stay steady while moving. Eyes closed, standing forces your inner ear and foot sensors to work harder when your vision can't help. Do all 3 exercises twice a day. Start conservatively, always near something you can grab if needed. The goal is gradual improvement, not immediate perfection. Here's something that will probably surprise you. The second biggest threat to your balance isn't physical at all. It's fear. Fear of falling creates a vicious cycle that actually makes falls more likely. When you're afraid of falling, your body tenses up. Your muscles become rigid. Your movements become hesitant and jerky. You start taking smaller steps, shuffling instead of walking normally. You avoid challenging your balance, which makes it weaker over time. The fear that's supposed to protect you actually increases your risk. Studies show that fear of falling is present in up to 60% of people over 65, even among those who have never fallen. This fear leads to what researchers call activity restriction. People start avoiding stairs, stop gardening, quit dancing, avoid walking on uneven surfaces. But here's the kicker. The less you challenge your balance, the worse it gets. Your balance system is like any other part of your body. Use it or lose it. When you stop practicing balance, those sensors in your feet get less sensitive. Your inner ear becomes less responsive. Your brain gets out of practice at quickly processing balance information. The very thing you're trying to avoid by being careful, falling, becomes more likely because your balance system gets weak from lack of use. Dorothy, 75, was terrified of falling after watching her neighbor break her hip. She started holding onto walls when she walked. She stopped going up and down stairs unless absolutely necessary. She quit her water aerobics class because she was afraid of slipping on the wet pool deck. Within 6 months, she'd fallen twice, both times during activities she used to do confidently. The problem was that Dorothy's balance had deteriorated from lack of practice. Her fear had created exactly what she was trying to prevent. When we started working together, I didn't push her to immediately do challenging exercises. Instead, we started with tiny steps that built her confidence along with her balance. The first step was what I call supported standing. Dorothy would stand at her kitchen counter while washing dishes, but instead of leaning on the counter, she'd barely touch it with her fingertips. This gave her the security of knowing support was there, but forced her balance system to do most of the work. Next, we progressed to standing conversation. Instead of sitting in her favorite chair to talk on the phone, Dorothy would stand. At first, she'd stay near the counter. Gradually, she moved away from support. Phone calls became balance practice without it feeling like exercise. The breakthrough came when we added what I call environmental confidence building. We practiced walking on different surfaces. First carpet, then hardwood, then tile. We practiced with different lighting conditions. Bright light, dim light, transitioning from bright to dim. We practiced carrying objects while walking, starting with something light like a small book, progressing to a bag of groceries. Within 3 months, Dorothy was back to her old activities. The key was building confidence and ability at the same time. Fear decreased as competence increased. If fear is limiting your balance practice, start with supported exercises. Always practice near something solid you can grab. Build success gradually. Remember, the goal is progress, not perfection. Even small improvements in balance can dramatically reduce fall risk. Now here's something most people don't realize. Your balance is different at different times of day. Most falls happen in specific time windows when your balance is naturally weaker. The highest risk time is within the first hour of waking up. Your blood pressure is adjusting, your inner ear fluid is settling, and your proprioceptors in your feet haven't fully activated for the day. This is why so many falls happen on the way to the bathroom in the morning or when getting out of bed. The second highest risk time is late afternoon and early evening. Your muscles are fatigued from the day's activities, but you're still trying to maintain your normal activity level. Blood sugar may be dropping if you haven't eaten recently. Lighting is changing as the sun goes down, affecting your visual balance cues. Research from several major medical centers shows that understanding these daily balance patterns can prevent up to 40% of falls in people over 60. The solution isn't to avoid activity during these times. It's to be more aware and take simple precautions. Harold, 71, fell 3 times, all in the early morning. Once getting out of bed, once in the shower, once walking to the kitchen. He started to think his balance was just getting worse with age. But when we looked at the pattern, we realized the problem wasn't his overall balance. It was his morning routine. Harold was jumping out of bed and immediately trying to walk at normal speed. His body hadn't had time to fully wake up. We changed his morning routine to include what I call balance activation. Before getting out of bed, Harold would sit on the edge for 30 seconds, letting his blood pressure stabilize. He'd point his toes and flex his feet a few times to wake up those foot sensors. He'd turn his head gently left and right to activate his inner ear. Then, instead of walking normally to the bathroom, Harold would take his first 20 steps more slowly and deliberately, paying attention to his balance. This simple routine change eliminated his morning falls completely. For evening balance protection, the key is what I call energy management. Late in the day, don't try to move as quickly as you do in the morning. Turn on lights before you need them, so you're not walking in dim light. If you are feeling tired, use handrails or walk near walls, even if you don't usually need them. The daily balance routine I recommend works with your body's natural rhythms. Morning activation as soon as you wake up. Midday challenges when your balance is strongest. Evening protection when you're more vulnerable. Here's the morning sequence. Sit on the edge of your bed for 30 seconds. Flex and point your feet 5 times. Turn your head gently left and right 5 times. Stand up slowly, pause for 3 seconds, then walk deliberately for the first 20 steps. Midday is when you should do your most challenging balance exercises. This is when you practice the 1-foot stands, heel-to-toe walking, and eyes-closed standing. Your balance system is most alert and responsive in the middle of the day. Evening protection means slowing down, improving lighting, and using available support without being embarrassed about it. Think of it as being smart, not being weak. But even if you get the timing right, there's something else that can sabotage your balance that most people never consider. It's hiding in your medicine cabinet. The third major threat to your balance is medication side effects. Not just the obvious ones like sedatives or blood pressure pills. Common medications can affect your balance in ways that are never mentioned in the warnings. Antihistamines, the kind you take for allergies, can make you dizzy and affect your spatial awareness. Antidepressants can cause orthostatic hypotension, where your blood pressure drops when you stand up. Even over-the-counter sleep aids can leave you with morning grogginess that affects balance for hours after you wake up. The real problem comes when you're taking multiple medications. Research shows that people taking 5 or more medications have double the fall risk of those taking fewer medications. It's not necessarily any single drug. It's the interaction between medications that can throw off your balance system. Here's what's particularly concerning. Many people experience subtle balance effects from medications but don't connect them to their pills. They just think they're getting clumsier with age. Meanwhile, the real culprit is sitting on their nightstand. Linda, 69, was taking medication for high blood pressure, allergies, and mild depression. Individually, none of these should have caused major balance problems. But together, they were making her dizzy, especially when she stood up quickly. She'd had several close calls, catching herself on furniture just before falling. Her doctors were treating her conditions appropriately, but no one was looking at the big picture of how the medications interacted to affect her balance. When we reviewed everything with her primary care physician, we were able to adjust the timing of when she took certain pills, reduce the dose of her antihistamine, and switch her to a blood pressure medication with fewer balance side effects. Within 2 weeks, Linda's dizziness was gone. Her balance confidence returned. She realized that what she'd attributed to aging was actually a fixable medication issue. The protocol for medication-related balance problems starts with a medication review. List every pill, supplement, and over-the-counter medication you take, including when you take them. Look up the side effects of each one, paying special attention to dizziness, lightheadedness, or balance issues. Pay attention to timing. Do you feel more unsteady at certain times of day that correlate with when you take medications? Do you feel dizzy when you stand up, particularly in the morning or evening when you might be taking blood pressure medication? Don't stop medications on your own, but do bring your concerns to your doctor. Often, there are alternative medications with fewer balance side effects, or the timing of medications can be adjusted to reduce problems. Sometimes the solution is as simple as taking blood pressure medication at bedtime instead of in the morning, so any dizziness happens while you're lying down instead of when you're walking around. But here's where it gets interesting. Even if you identify and fix medication issues, there's a hidden balance destroyer that's probably affecting you right now, and you might not even realize it. The fourth threat to your balance is dehydration, but not the obvious kind. I'm talking about chronic mild dehydration that affects your inner ear and your blood pressure regulation. Most people over 60 don't drink enough water, and their balance suffers because of it. Your inner ear contains fluid that helps you sense which way is up and how your head is moving. When you're even slightly dehydrated, this fluid becomes thicker and less responsive. Your balance reactions slow down. You become more prone to dizziness, especially when you change positions quickly. Mild dehydration also affects your blood pressure regulation. When you stand up, your body needs to quickly increase blood pressure to keep blood flowing to your brain. If you're dehydrated, this adjustment happens more slowly, leading to lightheadedness and unsteadiness. The tricky thing about chronic mild dehydration is that you don't feel thirsty. As you age, your thirst sensation becomes less reliable. You can be dehydrated enough to affect your balance while feeling completely normal otherwise. Studies have shown that even 3% dehydration can increase fall risk by up to 25%. That's less water loss than you'd experience from a mild fever or a hot day, but it's enough to make the difference between steady walking and a dangerous stumble. Frank, 74, was having balance problems mainly in the afternoon and evening. Morning was fine, but by 3 or 4 in the afternoon he'd feel unsteady. He'd had several near falls while cooking dinner. His blood pressure medication was working fine, and his morning routine wasn't the issue. When we tracked his water intake, we found the problem. Frank would have coffee in the morning and maybe 1 glass of water with lunch. By afternoon, he was mildly dehydrated. The combination of dehydration and normal afternoon fatigue was affecting his balance. The solution was simple but had to be systematic. Frank started drinking a full glass of water when he first woke up before his coffee. He had another glass with lunch and another at 3 in the afternoon. Not huge amounts, but consistent hydration throughout the day. Within a week, his afternoon balance problems were gone. His evening cooking confidence returned. Such a simple fix for what seemed like a complex balance issue. The hydration protocol for balance is straightforward. Start your day with 8 ounces of water before you have coffee or tea. Have another 8 ounces with lunch. Have a third 8 ounces in mid-afternoon. That's 24 ounces spread throughout the day, which is enough to maintain the fluid balance your inner ear needs without being overwhelming. Avoid drinking large amounts at once, which can actually upset your body's fluid balance. Steady, moderate intake throughout the day works better for balance than chugging water all at once. Pay attention to caffeine and alcohol, both of which can contribute to dehydration. You don't have to eliminate them, but balance them with extra water. Here's a simple test for chronic mild dehydration. Pinch the skin on the back of your hand and let go. If it takes more than 2 seconds to flatten back down, you're probably dehydrated enough to affect your balance. But even perfect hydration won't help if you're making the most common balance exercise mistake that I see: people over 60 make every single day. Fifth balance destroyer is something that will genuinely shock you. It's wearing the wrong shoes, but not in the way you think. Everyone knows not to wear high heels or slippery soles. The problem is what most people wear instead. Those thick-soled walking shoes and cushioned sneakers that are marketed for comfort and safety are actually making your balance worse. Here's why. Your feet contain thousands of nerve endings called mechanoreceptors. These sensors feel the ground beneath you and send information to your brain about what kind of surface you're on, whether you're tilted, and how to adjust your muscles to keep you upright. When you wear thick, cushioned soles, you block these sensors from doing their job. It's like trying to read Braille while wearing thick gloves. Your brain gets less information about your position and the ground beneath you, so your balance reactions are slower and less precise. Research from major balance labs shows that people over 60 who wear thin, flexible shoes have better balance than those wearing thick-soled shoes, even when the thick shoes are specifically designed for stability. The sensors in your feet need to feel the ground to keep you steady. This doesn't mean you should wear paper-thin shoes or go barefoot on rough surfaces. It means finding the thinnest sole that still protects your feet from sharp objects and provides reasonable comfort. The second shoe problem is toe box width. Many people wear shoes that are too narrow, which cramps their toes together. Your toes play a crucial role in balance, spreading wide and gripping to help you stay steady. When they're squeezed together in narrow shoes, they can't do their job. Eleanor, 77, had been wearing expensive walking shoes with thick, cushioned soles recommended by her podiatrist for comfort. But she was having balance problems, especially on uneven surfaces like grass or gravel. When she wore these shoes, she felt disconnected from the ground, like she was walking on pillows. We experimented with different footwear options. Thinner-soled shoes with a wide toe box made an immediate difference in her balance. She could feel the ground better, her toes could spread naturally, and her stability improved dramatically, especially outdoors. The transition had to be gradual. Eleanor's feet had gotten used to thick cushioning, so switching suddenly to thin soles would have been uncomfortable and potentially harmful. We started with medium-thickness soles and gradually worked down to thinner ones over several weeks. The footwear protocol for better balance starts with a sole thickness assessment. If you can't feel small objects like a coin under your foot through your shoe sole, your shoes are probably too thick for optimal balance. Look for shoes with soles no thicker than necessary for protection. Next, check toe box width. You should be able to wiggle all your toes freely inside your shoes. If your toes are pressed together, especially the big toe and second toe, your shoes are too narrow for good balance. Consider going barefoot or wearing just socks when you're safely indoors on clean, non-slip surfaces. This gives your foot sensors maximum information and helps maintain their sensitivity. When you do wear shoes, choose ones with flexible soles that allow your foot to bend naturally. Stiff soles interfere with the natural rolling motion of walking and can throw off your balance. Here's a simple test. Put on your current walking shoes and try standing on one foot. Then try the same thing barefoot or in very thin socks. Most people find the barefoot balance test much easier because their feet can actually feel what they're doing. But fixing your shoes is just preparation for the main event. The sixth and most important thing about balance is the simplest 5-minute routine that can change everything. This routine combines all the elements we've talked about into a simple daily practice. It addresses the 1-foot balance challenge, works on fear reduction through gradual progression, timing with your daily energy patterns, and proper foot sensation. 5 minutes in the morning, done consistently, can reduce your fall risk more than any single intervention. The routine has 4 parts, each building on the previous one. Part 1 is balance activation, waking up your balance system. Part 2 is stability training, challenging your balance in a controlled way. Part 3 is confidence building, practicing balance in realistic situations. Part 4 is integration, connecting balance work to your daily activities. Let me walk you through each part of the 5-minute routine. Part 1, balance activation, takes 1 minute. This wakes up all three parts of your balance system. Stand comfortably next to a counter or sturdy chair. Point your toes and flex your feet 5 times. This activates the sensors in your feet and lower legs. Turn your head gently left and right 5 times, then up and down 5 times. This stimulates your inner ear. Close your eyes and open them 5 times, focusing on a fixed point when your eyes are open. This activates your visual balance system. Part 2. Stability training. Takes 2 minutes. This challenges your balance systematically. Start with the 1-foot stand we practiced earlier. Stand on 1 foot for as long as you can, up to 30 seconds. Use light finger support on a counter if needed. Switch feet and repeat. Then do heel-to-toe walking. Take 10 steps in a straight line, placing the heel of 1 foot directly in front of the toes of the other foot. Turn around and walk back the same way. Part 3. Confidence building. Takes 1 minute. This practices balance in realistic conditions. Stand with your feet together and close your eyes for as long as you can, up to 30 seconds. This simulates walking in dim light when your vision is limited. Then practice the reach and balance. While standing on 1 foot, reach forward with the opposite arm as if picking something up, then reach to the side. This mimics real-world balance challenges. Part 4, Integration, takes 1 minute. This connects your balance work to daily activities. Practice sitting down and standing up from a chair 5 times without using your hands. This strengthens your legs and practices the balance transition you make dozens of times every day. And by walking 20 steps with deliberate heel-to-toe placement, paying attention to how your balance feels. The key to this routine is consistency, not perfection. Do it every morning after your balance activation but before you get busy with other activities. Start conservatively. If you can only balance on 1 foot for 5 seconds, that's fine. Work up gradually. If you need to hold on to support for all the exercises at first, that's perfectly appropriate. Track your progress simply. How long can you balance on 1 foot today compared to last week? Can you walk heel-to-toe more steps without wobbling? Are you using less finger support on the counter? Small improvements add up to significant changes in fall risk. James, 66, was skeptical about the 5-minute routine. He'd tried various balance exercises before and always quit after a few days because he didn't see immediate results. But this routine was different because it was short enough to be sustainable and comprehensive enough to address all aspects of balance. James started the routine on a Monday morning. By Friday, he could balance on 1 foot for 15 seconds instead of 8. By the end of the second week, he was doing most exercises without holding on to the counter. By the end of the first month, he noticed that he felt more steady throughout the day, not just during the exercises. The breakthrough came when James realized he wasn't thinking about balance anymore during normal activities. He wasn't worried about walking on uneven pavement or getting up from low chairs. His unconscious confidence had returned because his actual balance had improved. 6 months later, James told me the 5-minute routine had become as automatic as brushing his teeth. He rarely thought about it, but his balance continued to improve. More importantly, his fear of falling was completely gone. Here's how to start the routine tomorrow morning. Set out comfortable clothes and appropriate shoes the night before. Plan to do the routine in the same location every day, near the same piece of furniture for support. Start conservatively, using as much support as you need. Focus on consistency rather than performance. Week 1. Just learn the routine. Don't worry about how long you can balance or how well you do each exercise. Focus on remembering the sequence and making it a habit. Week 2. Start paying attention to your performance. How long can you balance on each foot? How many heel-to-toe steps can you take smoothly? Week 3 and beyond, gradually challenge yourself to use less support and hold positions longer. The routine works because it addresses balance comprehensively. The activation part wakes up your balance system. The stability part strengthens it. The confidence part teaches your brain that balance challenges are manageable, not scary. The integration part connects balance work to real life. Remember, this isn't about becoming a circus performer. It's about maintaining the balance you need for independence and confidence in daily activities. Getting out of bed safely, walking to the mailbox without worry, standing up from a restaurant chair without holding onto the table, reaching for something on a shelf without anxiety about falling. But beyond the physical benefits, this routine does something more important. It gives you back control. Instead of hoping you don't fall, you're actively building the skills to prevent falls. Instead of restricting your activities out of fear, you're expanding your confidence through competence. The research is clear that people who maintain good balance as they age stay independent longer, have fewer hospitalizations, maintain social connections better, and report higher quality of life. Balance isn't just about not falling. It's about continuing to fully participate in your life. Each morning when you do this routine, you're investing 5 minutes in your future independence. You're maintaining your ability to travel, to visit friends, to pursue hobbies, to live life on your terms rather than being limited by fear or instability. Here's what I want you to remember from everything we've talked about today. Balance isn't something that just happens to deteriorate with age. It's a skill that you can maintain and improve with the right approach. The 5-minute routine we just went through addresses all the major factors that affect balance: daily practice, proper timing, fear reduction, and functional training. Most importantly, remember that small improvements in balance create large improvements in safety and confidence. You don't need to be able to balance like a gymnast. You just need to be stable enough for your daily activities and confident enough to keep living fully. The evidence shows that people who do regular balance training reduce their fall risk by up to 50%. That's a bigger reduction than most medications provide for most conditions. And unlike medications, balance training has only positive side effects: better coordination, stronger legs, increased confidence, reduced fear, and maintained independence. Your balance system wants to work well. It just needs consistent, appropriate challenges to stay sharp. The 5-minute routine provides exactly that. A daily tune-up that keeps all the parts of your balance system working together smoothly. Start tomorrow morning with the routine. Be patient with yourself as you learn it. Be consistent even when you don't feel like doing it. Be proud of small improvements. Remember that every day you practice, you're building a foundation for years of steady, confident movement. Which part of the 5-minute balance routine are you most excited to try? And what activity would you feel more confident about if your balance improved?